all of my businesses, if you think about it, we know it works somewhere around the world, right? So, but however, if I look at Hui Lausan and such, we knew that it worked in Hong Kong, and I just knew that in the U.S. there's a big Chinese population. So basically, naturally, people would like the desserts, right? Chinese style desserts. With the hotel furniture business, it was importing, exporting furniture from China into the U.S. and there's always a demand for that, right? So I just have to identify the proper value proposition. With You Buy, certainly that was again a U.S. business model that we localized for Hong Kong, and we had a lot of inspiration for that, and so we were able to localize and make sure it's relevant for the local population. And so it worked in Asia. With my last venture, this is my most recent venture with Kinetics, with genetic testing, certainly it's still very, I would say it's an infant stage here in Asia, but we know genetic testing in the US has taken off like crazy within the last 2 to 3 years due to advancements in sequencing technology, which allows the cost of the genetic test to be much more affordable than before. So I knew it worked in the US, and certainly I looked at the value it was providing in terms of, is this very helpful for me as an individual even, and then how can I use that knowledge or experience, and how can I make that product and expand it across Asia in terms of the value proposition, making it low enough that we have customers that can buy the DNA test and that offer to let's say the insurance customers that make a value proposition. So I always get inspiration from knowing something works other places, and you have to believe in it, and you have to ultimately believe in your product, right? If you have a great product, then sales will come. Well, because so innovation-wise, it happens really on the model and the iteration, right? So there's always going to be localization, because I think every type of business is always an inspiration from something else, correct? So you have to take that inspiration and say, how do you make it even better? And so I think that's key to finding that inspiration, whatever important something is that, how do you localize it for the local market? And that takes a lot of creativity, that takes a lot of expertise, and how does it make sense for the local market? My whole thought process is that basically, I actually don't think too much. Once I really love the idea myself, does it make sense? Do I have an angle where I could have a unique value proposition to the customer? And a few things, and can I build a team? Do I have funding? All that. Of course, I ask all of these questions, and then I go into it. Right? So for each of the business, I probably thought about it for maybe 3-4 weeks at most, and then basically just go fall into it. You talk to people. You have to you have to talk to as many people as possible. You have to talk to your customers. You have to really think like a local. Okay. So and also make sure that even right now for Connect, we're expanding all throughout Southeast Asia, Singapore, Thailand, Malaysia, Taiwan, and Indonesia. So we're going to be in all these markets by the end of the year. So we have to make sure that we find local people as well. Okay. Right. So I think that's key. Make sure that we have local people working on our localization. Yeah, so again, with becoming a domain expert, again, there's so much information online that number one, I read a lot myself. At the same time, I also talk to real experts in the field and get knowledge from them, and then I look at it and I study it. I stay up to date in the industry news. So I'm always making sure that I stay relevant with all the new stuff that is coming on, right? And certainly I talk to as many people as possible. And in terms of being a domain expert, it's very key that you understand the intricate details. Because I can talk about DNA testing, right? But then I can also talk to you about, if you want to know details, if let's say for example, you have the specific gene mutation for women, BRCA1, BRCA2, I know specifically how that increases your risk of breast cancer if you're a woman, right? Or if you're colon cancer, what's that risk percentage, right? So knowing the facts and numbers and data is also quite key to becoming a domain expert. Okay. You just have to know the facts. Yeah, so basically it's actually better that I'm not a PhD, right? Because typically PhDs don't make the best business people, right? So at least for our business, right? I come in with a lot of entrepreneurial experience and I couple with a very strong scientific team. So we have our own laboratory, 8,000 square feet laboratory in Hong Kong. But of course, I don't deal with any of the scientific stuff. I make sure I have an expert in the science side, and then I also have to know what we're talking about, right? and then we'll put that together with the commercial side, and then you have a holistic approach. So it's actually good for investors, because investors want to see that you have everything covered. You have a strong science team, you have a strong IT team, you have a strong commercial team, you have a strong marketing team. You have to check all the marks, right?
Right.
So I think that's key. Also, make sure that again, before you go to investors or before you go in to talk to your customers, you already done your homework to make sure that you have the proper infrastructure. Well, again, this is all about how you present yourself and your company and the context, right? So, and also understanding, which person that you need to talk to for your customers. Certainly you want to appear as big as possible, but at the same time, you want to give them the opportunity for them to make it easy for them to work with you, right? And then let them experience you working with them, providing extra value. So that's why, when customers email us, even myself, we always make it a habit that we get back to them within the same hour, same 2 hours, 3 hours at the most, right? So this is always building that trust and credibility. You have to be super fast responding to your customers' needs, whatever they want in terms of customizable, as long as it makes sense, and you just have to go do that. Let's say if you're doing direct-to-consumer route, right? It's very different,
right? Because
at Groupon, that was direct-to-consumer route, right? So in Hong Kong or even Taiwan, I was overseeing Hong Kong, Taiwan, Groupon at one point. So we have 5 million subscribers, right? So that's a lot, right? There's no way we can personalize 5 million people. So and again, it becomes a numbers game that we email, of course, 5 million people on a daily basis, and we have the best deals accordingly, right? So we can personalize some levels, but it's also key that I don't think you can also cater to everyone. But if you just focus on your core target customers, then I think it's also possible. I think in 2010, when I started YouBuyBuy, and we weren't the first company to do it. We're the 4th company, but within the span of 3 months, there's 57 companies in Hong Kong doing the exact same business model, right? But from day one until I left the company, we're the market leader by far. So in terms of execution, it's always, again, driving yourself, driving the team, making sure that you have relevant, good deals. Ultimately, people wanted to see good deals, right? Okay. And then so we always make sure that we have good deals. We change the behavior. You have to hire a really great team. Again, that's very passionate about what you do. And always striving, even for the full 3-4 years I was there. So I was constantly saying, hey, if we sell 1,000 vouchers one day, I was like, okay, how do we sell 2,000 vouchers or 3,000 vouchers? So, because ideas in general, it can be very easy to find so many ideas, but really about execution, what makes a difference, and focus on those things that make a difference that grows your revenue ultimately, at least in the beginning, at least from our approach. It was a great experience for me when I look back at working at 15, because basically, by the time I'm 21, I already had 6 years working experience, right? So another 21-year-old, typically, most likely, they didn't have that 6 years experience. So at 16, I was already managing people in their 30s, right? So that's like a manager, correct? Right. So I think even for when I look at this new generation of younger people, I think they start work too late. Correct? Because when you start working early, you're going to go through challenges, experiences, and you take a lot of, you just get much more experience and insight in terms of how the business side of a lot of things work. So I think definitely if you can even start earlier, the better. I think it's key from day one that you have to understand if your business model, the more it can expand, the more potential that you will have, right? So if you just look at Taiwan and Hong Kong wise, it's still a small market, correct? So your product from day one, does this have potential? Of course, you just start locally, start in Taiwan, and once you have a clear understanding that it works, then you can go global. But from day one, your product potential, it should be a global product. Okay.